Hi everyone, good morning. I hope you're doing really well. Welcome back to a new video. I'm a lot late. This is August reading wrap up. I'm gonna show you all the books that I read in August. But first, I know I'm super late, but better late than never. I mean, we're talking about books. It's always a good time to talk about books. In August, I ended up reading 11 books, 2 of which were audiobooks, and then I DNF'd 1 book. First, I'm gonna show you all of these all together because they're part of the same series. So I started the Addicted / Calorie Sister series in August and love it. So I'm only 4 books in because this is a 10-book series. If you want more detail on how the Addicted and Calorie Sister series works, I'm going to link my vlog down below where I have explained everything. First, we have Addicted to You, Ricochet, Addicted for Now. And then you have Kiss the Sky. First one, I gave 5 stars. Loved it so much. I grew so attached to the 2 main characters. Then Ricochet, I think it was 4 stars if I'm not mistaken. And I think this one was also 5 stars. I'm not completely sure. Kiss the Sky, I think was 3.75. I rated all of them very highly because I love this world so much. So the first series is the Addicted series, which follows Lily Calloway and Lauren Hale. So there are 2 more books that I'm yet to read. But generally in these books, we're following these 2 main characters. Childhood best friends, 2 lovers. They've had a very traumatic and neglectful upbringing, and sort of they became loners and confided in each other. So they became each other's best friends and lovers along the way, and confidants and support system. But what's dangerous about their relationship is that they're both addicts and they enable each other's addictions, thinking that this is love and they need this kind of support, until slowly they hit rock bottom. And throughout the books, we're following them as they struggle with their mental health, with their relationship with their surroundings, their futures. Obviously, the most prominent one is their addictions, how they struggle with it day to day. So you really feel like you're in their shoes and you feel all of their pain. So I didn't actually read these back to back because I think that would be very, very mentally draining. But yeah, you just get so much background into their childhood, into their relationship. So you get so much character depth and I sympathize with them so much. I grew really attached to both of them. I loved them and the world, and I just wanted so much goodness for them because they've been through so much. And then these 3 are followed by the first book in the Calloway Sisters series, Kiss the Sky. And this one follows the other Calloway sisters, their life, their jobs, their relationship, and also their traumas, because in this 10-book series, there is no character who has not been through something traumatizing and is not still dealing with some past problem. It's just very toxic and dramatic and very sad and very heartbreaking and infuriating at times, but I don't know, I feel like there is something about this world. If you like it, it's not because you like the pain, but it's because you're so attached to the characters and you want so much goodness for them that you just can't stop reading about them. So I'm very, very excited to continue this series. This is not in order. I'm just going to show you randomly. I also picked up The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. And again, this is one of the books that I have a reading vlog on, so I'm going to link that down below. If you've watched that, you know that I didn't love this. I think I gave it 3 stars. I'm not sure. I went into this with high expectations, thinking that this for sure was going to be 5 stars read. We're following 2 main characters, a boy and a girl, since their childhood until they grow up, and they are constantly being guided and instructed by their instructors to become the best magicians, because at some point they are going to compete against one another. The thing is, they don't really know anything else about the competition, why they're competing, where they're going to be competing, what are the stakes and what are the rules, but they know that at some point it is going to happen. Then you have the Night Circus, which is this beautiful magical circus with very different magical acts that appears overnight. So along the way, you're going to understand how all the stories in this book are tied together, because in the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, it was a bit confusing because it kept giving you so many stories, but without giving you any ties between them. It was confusing, but at the same time, it made me very intrigued to continue reading. What I didn't like about this, however, is it was very redundant, very repetitive, and the romance in this book, I just didn't like it. I felt like it was too insta-lovey. One minute they were just there, and then the next they were in love. I didn't get it, so yeah, that's why I ended up giving this 3 stars. Not one of my favorites, but I do think the writing was beautiful. Then We have one of my 5-star reads for August, When in Rome by Sarah Adams. This is my first book by her, but I'm sure it's not going to be my last because I adored the plot, the writing style, the characters, their development throughout the book. Everything was just so perfect. So we're following Amelia, this very famous singer, but she has been in the spotlight since she was 17, and she's always been told what to do, what to wear, what to say, who to be. So she slowly feels like who she really is slipping away. So one night she gets very tired of all of it and decides to just run away without telling anyone, and she runs to Rome, which is a small town in Kentucky. Her car breaks down. The lovely Noah comes to rescue her, and you guys, when I tell you I had the biggest crush on Noah all throughout this book. He's like just the perfect book boyfriend ever. The chemistry between them, their banter, when she met Noah's sisters, they were such an add-on to the book. There was a lot of character development. This was fun and light, but at the same time it had a lot of depth, a lot of growth, a lot of development, and just it felt very warm and genuine, and I was just so happy reading this. I read In 5 Years by Rebecca Searle, and this was such a disappointment. I'm not sure how much I gave it. I think 3 stars or less, maybe 2 stars, I'm not sure. What was this about? Oh yeah, so basically we have this very high achieving, organized lawyer, and she has the next 5 years of her life planned out. Then one day she wakes up in this strange apartment with a strange man, and then she realizes that it's been 5 years and none of her plans have panned out and nothing looks like the way she wanted it to be. In my opinion, at first the premise of the book sounded so good, and then slowly as the story progressed, it just went into really odd places, and I just didn't really like it. It didn't make any sense to me. The main character felt so distant, so flat, so one-dimensional, and I just didn't connect, not with the story, not with her goals, not with her personality. So I don't know, this was just very disappointing because it's a very short book, but I don't know, I've heard good things about it and I really thought I was gonna enjoy it, but yeah. Next, we have King of Wrath by Anna Juan. This can be read as the 5th and final book in the Twisted series, or you can read it as the first book in the King of Sin series. Anna Juan's books are always the same kind of vibe. You have the billionaire world, toxic masculinity, and very beautiful women, and all of them are very wealthy and very perfect, and that's always the vibe. So, and a lot of spice, of course. In this one, we're following Dante and Vivian, which we learned about them a little bit in the last book of the Twisted series, Twisted Lies, I think. So Dante is a very controlling man, both personally and professionally, and he is this billionaire, but now he's being blackmailed into marrying Vivian, who is a jewelry heiress. She's beautiful and charming, but he doesn't want anything to do with her because he was blackmailed into marrying her. And the story picks up from there. I enjoyed this. I didn't connect to the characters much. Of course, they lacked a lot of depth. I feel like the Twisted series generally was a lot fun, but I'm not sure about the King of Sin series so far. So it was a good time. It was very fast. I think I finished this in less than 24 hours, honestly. So if you want a good palate cleanser and you don't mind spice in your book, this is a very good one. It's just so easy to read, but it's not going to turn your world upside down. It's not that good. But yeah, it's just a decent book. It's 3 stars. Saved one of the best for last. Cold Tea by Mariana Zapata. I adore Mariana Zapata, and I'm going to read all of her books at some point. I know that. So this is sports romance, slow burn, and age gap romance. Even though it's done so well, so tastefully, I didn't cringe or feel any weirdness at all. Generally, Mariana Zapata does the best romances genuinely because they're slow burn. That means you have so much time getting to know the characters, growing with them as they grow their infatuation and attraction and connection and chemistry. So you really start to care for them and root for them and feel what they're feeling. So finally, when the romance happens, it's so worth it. And when I tell you the romance in this book happens literally at the very, very end, when you have a couple of pages left and you're still happy, you're still not mad, just take my word, because it's just done so well. And this also means that along the way we're getting a lot of depth and background into who the main characters are, which, by the way, this book is about Colty and Sal, or two main characters. So Sal is this badass, high-achieving, super inspiring, super strong, super kind at the same time female football player who's just doing everything she can. When I tell you that woman puts in the work, I mean that woman puts in the work to be the best at her field. It's highly inspiring. I loved reading about her. Then we have Colty, who's this very famous ex-football player who becomes her coach. So along the way, they get to know each other, and, you know, like I said, it's a slow burn, so we get to witness all of their connection built up from the get-go. There is a very sweet past element to it that you will kind of slowly figure out along the way. There is this beautiful family dynamic of Sal's, and her relationship with her father was one of the best ever. I just loved reading about this because it felt very real and mature, and it was not taunting, you know, third act breakup and silly little stuff that we read sometimes about in romances. You don't usually read about that in Mariana Zapata's book. And you have a little announcement at the end. It's like a magazine announcement. That was just the cherry on top. Trust me, when you get there, you'll just feel this warmth in your heart. You'll feel so happy for them. But yeah, that was Colty by Mariana Zapata. Obviously, this was a 5-star read. And the last two books were audiobooks. One of them was a very bad audiobook, but then again, I don't know what I was expecting. I'm not even gonna put the cover up here because it's very, yeah. So it was this very spicy, fast-paced book where you have two characters that meet today, fall in love by evening, and then have a third act breakup, and then quickly solve it, and everyone lives happily ever after. So it is an office romance, a lot of spice, and since it's only 4 hours long, there isn't much that I can tell you honestly, except that it was not good. The writing was not good, obviously, and there was no real plot at all. So yeah, it was, I don't know. I think I saw it and I was like, it's 4 stars, and I was sitting around a lot because it was during my eye surgery, and I was like, let me listen to this, only 4 hours, so I did. Now I realize I never actually gave you the title. So it was, what was the title? Tell Me You Want Me? I think it was that. Tell Me You Want Me by Willow Harper. I think I might be completely making things up right now, but yeah, I will put up the name and the author's name somewhere since I can't put up the cover. Then I listened to Crave by Tracy Wolf. I feel like this is all over Book Talk right now, but I actually didn't know back then, so I just saw it in a bookstore, and the covers were so beautiful, but then again, the books were so big, so I didn't get near them honestly. But I saw the audiobook free on YouTube, and I was like, why not? I'm just gonna give it a go, and I ended up giving it 3 stars. Basically, this book is a fantasy. It's following Grace, whose parents just died, so she moves to Alaska where her uncle and cousin live in this big college. At first she doesn't know, but slowly she finds out that this is a magical college for magical creatures. So we have students that are dragons, and then vampires, and then witches, and then shapeshifters, which are basically werewolves. It was a decent read. It was kind of fun. I feel like it was trying to be serious, but then you just couldn't take it seriously. There's a lot that I didn't really like about this book, but there was just enough that I liked to make me want to continue to the second book. Basically, I didn't like the main character. She was so childish, but again, this is YA, and the language was super YA. Maybe that's why I didn't like it. Grace, who was doing all these weird commentary, thinking things in her head, in very, very serious and dangerous situations, like joking or being sarcastic, and I was just like, what are you doing? Try to save yourself or understand or whatever, just this is not the time and place. And secondly, I didn't like how the book was trying to be serious, but then it was in a very childish tone, so you ended up laughing more than being scared for them. So yeah, anyway, I wouldn't say I recommend the book. I don't feel like I do, but then again, it depends on your age group. Maybe if you're a lot younger, like 12, 14, you might enjoy it, but I personally just, I don't know, we'll see. Let me see what the other books are like. So that was Crave by Tracy Wolfe. And then the last book that I DNF was actually Emma by Jane Austen. First of all, I just don't think I'm a classics person. I don't generally enjoy them, so I think I'm gonna try to stay away from them, even though their covers are always so beautiful, and especially this limited edition one is gorgeous. But I don't generally enjoy having books on my shelves that are just beautiful and that I'm not going to read. So the reason I DNF'd this is A, because like I said, I just don't think I'm into classics that much, but also because when I read this, I realized that I've watched the movie like 5 times and I didn't know that this was that movie, because I've watched it a long time ago, but it was just very spoiled because with every single page I knew where it was going and what she was gonna say, what he was gonna do, how he was gonna feel. So I read 100 pages and then I decided to call it quits because it was putting me in a reading slump. I was not excited to pick it up at all. So I'm glad to have it. It's a really beautiful book, but yeah, it's just probably not my thing. And also, I've already watched the movie. I'm usually like that. If I watch the movie, then I don't want to read the book. And if I read the book, I generally am not interested in the movie/TV show. So, which is also why I haven't watched Daisy Jones and the Six TV show, because I love the book, but I'm really not interested in the TV show. So yeah. Anyway, those are everything that I read this month. I was gonna say this year. No, this is all that I read in August, and I'm very happy with the books that I read. I'm very excited to hopefully do my September reading wrap up on time this time. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. That is it. I will see you in my next one. Take care. Bye.